Hola clase, buenas tardes. Ok, este es el video para hacer un adivino. We're making a fortune teller to have something to play with while we are learning how to ask and answer questions in Spanish. So this is what you're gonna need. I'm doing a quick and simple video, so it is gonna be in English just because I don't want you to misunderstand my directions. So first things first, you need a piece of paper. Ideally, we would have square paper like you were doing origami, but you know, most papers are rectangular, so printer paper from the computer works best. Notebook paper will work as well. It's just not as thick, so this is the perfect thickness for making something like this. So what you want to do to get that square is you want to take a corner. I usually take the top corner and fold it, but you're going to try to make it this side flush with the opposite side to form a triangle that's pretty even. So if you're not careful with lining up the edges, you might end up with a misshapen triangle, and you want it to be as perfect as possible because when your lines are straighter, your fortune teller will function better and it won't get all off joint, I guess. So this is what I did here. See, I lined up these angles as perfectly as possible so that it's not overlapping on either side. Then this is the excess piece we need to get rid of. So the best way to do this is to fold this into itself and line that up perfectly with the inside. Okay. And so I just took it and I folded it very carefully to be even, because when you cut it off, you're going to end up with your square. So you may use a pair of scissors to do this carefully. I have scissors here. Or I just like to use my fingernails if you have nails and crease this so that I can weaken the paper and I can just tear it with my hand. Like I said, it's up to you. You can use scissors. I'm just better with, I have better results doing it with my hand. So I'm just tearing it off very carefully. If you do choose to tear off with your hands, just be very slow and careful. Okay, so I just tore off the rectangle, and when you open this up, you end up with the square. So you are going to now take all four of your corners and you are going to fold them. Oh, wait, I almost forgot a step. I'm jumping ahead of myself. So just kidding. Fold it back up, you have a triangle. And you're going to take the furthest two corners of the triangle and you are going to touch them together. Again, being careful to line up the sides of your paper so that they match each other directly. Sorry, I have a nosy cat who likes to just be here. So now I'll go away. So now when you open the paper, you will get your square with four very nice and equal triangles. And there's a little point in the middle where they all connect. You need to fold your corners in toward that central point. And so I'm doing one at a time. Say I fold it and then I crease it nice and sharply. Then I do the opposite one. Usually the best, most even results are if you fold opposite sides into each other, because you can kind of make them meet in the middle, point to point. So see, these are like point to point. I can line them up and see, oh, that's even. Okay. And then I do it to the other corners as well. and I crease those. It might take you a couple of pieces of papers to get this right, a couple tries, but practice makes perfect with everything. So you end up with a product that looks like this, but we're not done yet. So you need to flip it over to the other side. The other side is flat. There's nothing, no pieces sticking out like this one. And you're going to take the corners in again, and you're going to fold them into the central point. So you're repeating the same action on the opposite side of your paper. Okay. See what I'm doing here? I'm just folding my little corners in to the middle. Okay. You want to try to fold your angles as near perfect as possible, because you'll end up with a better functioning little contraption. Okay, so I folded in all of the 4 corners. So then when you flip it over again, you have these 4 little squares, and hard to see them. So to make them more obvious, I just take it and I fold it in half. Okay, make it nice and flexible. See, I folded them in half. And then you can even fold it the other way in half, which is a good idea. You're just trying to make this really flexible. Okay, so because this is how you're going to make this piece pop out and turn into a fortune teller. Okay, so you see it kind of taking shape already, the 4 corners. And so you want to stick your index finger and your thumb into the 2 pockets, and you want to pinch. Okay, and then I'm doing the same thing here. Pinch. Okay, and there you go. There's your fortune teller. So Spanish 1, I'm going to have to fill this out right now. What you want to do is, when we practice using these are good for practicing spelling, recalling of simple, like related vocab terms, or counting. So for this one, my Spanish ones, you're going to pick 4 colors. We've learned quite a few colors, but we'll pick 4 of them. I use marker so that I could color them accordingly. And then on the opposite side of the 4 pocket side, you have a series of triangles. You have 2, 4, 6, 8 spaces to write in. So I usually do my numeros, so you know your numbers. So I just picked random numbers. The trick is you don't want to pick numbers past like 15, because you're going to be counting, and you don't want to have to count like up to 70. Then no one's going to want to play with you. They're going to be like, what? You want me to count to 60? Adios. Or 70 rather, 70. So I just did 1 through 15. I just picked random numbers, and I put 1 in each triangle. Okay. Now, here's the fun part. You want to open up underneath these numbers, and on these edges, you are going to actually write your questions. Okay. So we're talking about el horario escolar, the school schedule. So you guys are going to be writing questions to ask one another about school schedule. So there are 2 types of questions you could ask. You could ask, what class do you have for block 1, 2, 3, or 4? So, ¿qué materia tienes primero? Okay, and so that's what I wrote here. ¿Qué materia tienes primero? So, primero, that's one question. ¿Qué materia tienes segundo? That's another question. ¿Qué materia tienes tercero? ¿Y qué materia tienes cuarto? Primero, segundo, tercero, cuarto. That's 4 questions, okay? You could also ask, at what time? So we've been practicing la hora. ¿Qué hora es? What time is it? You could actually ask now, at what time is block 1? Okay. At what time do you have block 2? So, ¿a qué hora? ¿A qué hora es la clase? Okay. De tercer bloque, del tercer bloque. Del. Okay. ¿A qué hora es el tercer bloque? ¿A qué hora es el cuarto bloque? ¿A qué hora es el segundo bloque? ¿A qué hora es el primer bloque? You notice for first and third, it's not primero bloque, they take off the O. And same with third, tercer bloque instead of tercero. I know that might be kind of confusing to you, but you just practice saying them and you'll get used to them. Okay, so you want to make sure that you write questions on either one, and then you will be able to play with this. So have yours ready so that we can play together. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to have your cootie catcher, they call them, or adivino, fortune teller. And then we are going to practice. So if it was my turn to ask you and I was using mine, I would ask you, okay, un color, por favor, a color, please. And then you'd pick a color. So say you pick rojo, red. I'm going to then go R, O, J, O. That's the way you play with these. You just open the mouth in the different directions. R, O, J, O. And then you show them what's inside, los números. And you're going to ask them, you're going to say, un número, por favor. So let's pick cuatro. Okay? Again, now instead of spelling, you're going to have to count. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. Again, números. This time, the third time, so you picked a color first, then you picked a number second, and now you're going to pick one more number. And so if I pick 15, 15, or if you pick 15 rather when you play with me, I would open up and I would ask you the question behind 15, okay? And the question behind 15 would be, ¿A qué hora es el tercer bloque? At what time is third block? And then you would have to tell me when it is, okay? And that's according to the school schedules that we made on Google Slides. So I hope that this tutorial was easy for you to watch and understand how to make these. It is a video, so you can always pause it and go back and rewind if you missed a step. But for now, if you could even just get this physical part done for Monday, then we'd be in really good shape so that we can start talking. Okay? All right. Gracias. Adios.